Welcome everybody to After Hours Gaming League's tournament. We are in preseason 2. We had some pretty great matches in preseason 1 between Epic Prime and Epic Dose and Google Word Search and Capital One Blue. So we are in preseason week 2 now, and we're going to be seeing a great game between Kabam and Curse. I'm joined by my co-caster, SwordofLighting, and my name is Desifresh.
What's up, guys? And don't you mean Kaboom? You know, Kaboom versus Curse, fourth versus last. Same thing,
Oh,
right?
yeah, exactly. But no, it's actually Kabam. It's actually,
Dang.
yeah. If it was Kaboom, that would be that would be great.
I would love myself because then we could just finally say that Curse faced a team that was in the World Championship. They finally made it, but they didn't. So now we're seeing bans go down towards jungle and a little bit of a support kind of banish. Thresh is a very strong support overall, you know, like a Blitzcrank, except he can go in a little more durable, I would say. He has the Lantern as well. If he positions himself in the right area, he can have a nice Lantern gank, or he can make a great escape for somebody. Vi, Lee Sin, both pretty viable in the jungle. Vi very good for engages, ganking around everywhere. Same with Lee Sin. So it looks like blue side's banning out the more pressured junglers than the farm and then go in for the team fight.
Yeah, the Threshold is a targeted ban towards Iron Reaver. He's the most likely to pay Thresh on the Kabam team, so I believe that's our targeted ban towards him. The Irelia ban is probably towards Galador. He is most likely the top laner on that Kabam team as well.
And we see the Zyra actually go, and that is towards Curse Hubert. Curse Hubert has a lot of games played on Zyra, if I'm not mistaken, about 80 games. So support Zyra, we're not going to see that today. No Season 3 returning, and we're waiting for the last ban by Curse.
If I had to make a guess, it would probably standard ban like, oh, okay, so it's gonna be a Zed. I was thinking something like a Lucian or a Corki.
Do you know what? Zed is pretty common ban now just because of the fact that he is such a good assassin. Since the assassins are making their way back, Zed is seeing more play, and Zed is more comfortable for people because you're able to make shot calls still if you're the shot caller for mid lane, and you can also make these sick, awesome plays, and you don't need that much help when you're doing it as well as the fact that he's a great split pusher. He can split push your tower end. We saw High do that in World Championship, and we saw it a lot, but Warwick not banned at all, and he's gonna get first picked by Kabam.
Yeah, he's a pretty dominant jungler at the moment. Even after the Skirmisher Saber nerfs and the nerfs to his ultimate, he's still getting picked fairly often. Looks like Graves and Braum are getting locked in on the side of Curse. So his bottom lane has been revealed, and that's a pretty dominant bottom lane.
To be honest, that bot lane is super aggressive. Graves, I don't agree with him for most AD carries. I feel like there's better AD carries, especially with Braum, since Braum is such a big guy with his passive, able to stun somebody. He has a slow, he has a knockup and slow in there, but he can also protect the AD carry very well. So Graves is kind of, I don't like it because he doesn't have like what Lucian has, where you can double stack it, or Caitlyn, where you can do it from afar, but he is very durable with his passive, being able to gain magic resistant armor the more he is basic attacking. So
I think the rise of Graves has to do with the fact that Corki is starting to see a lot more play, because Graves versus Corki, Graves is really just going to win any all-out trade that they come to in that lane. So picking the Braum with the Graves just allows them a dominating pressure. It's not going to be the Corki on the side of Kabam, it's actually going to be the Caitlyn, so we're going to have to see how that lane goes over them. Iron Weaver is going to be locking in the Annie, so we have both of the bottom lanes being revealed. It's going to be Caitlyn Annie versus Graves and Braum. On the side of Curse, Angry Honey Badger and Curse Hubert are going to be locking in Jarvan and Jax, respectively. And I think that's a Jarvan in the jungle.
that is going to be a Jarvan in the jungle, and Angry Honey Badger, if I'm not mistaken, he's going to be playing the Jarvan in the jungle. And from what I'm aware, he is a very good jungler with J4, the most played again on his ranked squad. Same with Jax, God's Revolver. If I'm not mistaken, he's going to go top lane. He has about 50 games played on Jax, his most played compared to his second played, where there's about 20 games. So he knows Jax inside and out. But Galador knows his top lane inside out, picking the Renekton to kind of cancel out the Jax so Jax can't get free farm. He's going to use the Renekton to bully him so much towards that top lane. And we're gonna have to see how Renekton is able to control the top lane. If the junglers will go to the top lane, try to get the Jax going early. As well, we see the jungle Alistair, something that, or actually support Alistair mid any. So we don't see a lot of mid
Ooh,
anis lately.
yeah. And back to that Renekton pick. Renekton is actually Galador's most picked champion in solo queue, so we can probably be sure that he's really comfortable on the champion. We're gonna have to see how he does against Curse Hubert's Jax, but you know, Renekton versus Jax in that top lane, Renekton's really just going to win any early on out trade.
Yeah, and on top of that, it's a lantern versus like a skeef. Or I don't know what Renekton's weapon's called. I know it's in the back of my head somewhere, but come on, lamps always lose against a giant blade. Let's be serious here. But with
But
respect to Jax actually at 6, he is able to pump out a lot of damage as well as be able to kind of resist a lot of it with when his ultimate is actually activated because of the extra armor and magic resist he gets, and he is running the ignite instead of teleport. So once he hits that level 6, be ready for him to go out for all out fights and go straight into the combat.
so you know that Annie, we were talking a little bit about that Annie in that mid lane. We really expected it to be a support Annie being played by Iron Weaver, but it's actually going to be Alistar. And that Annie versus Xerath lane, uh, I think Annie's going to have a pretty difficult time in the earlier parts of that matchup, mainly because Xerath should be able to essentially push the wave out, effectively trying to deny Annie farm. But Annie's ability to farm under tower is pretty decent.
It is like Annie has her Q, which when she kills a target, she's able to reset it and gain some mana back. So she won't have too much trouble under tower. So it's gonna be more of Angry Honey Badger kind of just poking down with his Q, W. No, he is a Xerath, so he has long range spells which will help him poke down in the mid laner, so it causes them to go back, lose pressure in their lane. So Annie is gonna focus more on just staying alive under the tower, and we're gonna just see mostly probably farming in the mid lane until level 6, where Annie might look for something when she reaches Tibbers full stack. You know, Warwick will hit 6. He has the lockdown as well. So we're gonna wait for blue side to kind of hit that level 6, and that's when they're gonna start to group, and we're gonna see a change. More like purple side. Purple side's waiting for a bit later. About level 11, Jax will be a little stronger. He'll have his Triforce and at least a Randuin's done, the basis of his kit, and they're going to use that. But they also have the Graves for the early game kind of pressure. They needed that kind of early pressure with, on top of that, the Xerath, I should say. And it's going to be hard for blue side to kind of go in for those all-in fights once they hit their power spike, which is about level 6. So it's going to be interesting to see how blue side will do it. Will they go for picks? Will they just survive lane, see how it goes from there, just go with the flow? We're going to have to see with that.
And really, the time that we're gonna have to be looking forward to is probably about minute 9, close to minute 9, maybe even minute 10, if the Jarvan decides to be a little bit aggressive onto that Warwick and try to steal some farm. Level 9 and around level 9 and 10 is when Warwick's gonna be hitting level 6. He'll be getting those ganks off and infinite duress. That's almost a guaranteed kill right there. The damage was reduced quite a bit in the 4.21 patch, but it really shouldn't make too big of a difference. Look at the damage that each of these lanes have. Annie, so much burst on that side. Renekton, so much early game damage. Caitlyn and Alistar, great lockdown, and Caitlyn will be able to just mash away from long range. And if anything, you have Ace in the hole to pick up the kill if they do manage to get away.
And something like you were saying, they do have that early damage. They on Kabam's side, sorry, I almost said Kaboom there, but on Kabam's side, they do have the early kind of lane dominance. Caitlyn or Nectin, Annie. Well, Annie's in this situation not that dominant just because of the fact that it's a Xerath, but they're going for early lanes, very easy lanes where they can win, dominate those lanes, not have that much trouble, and Warwick will be able to just farm up and hit 6, and then they're hoping they're going to survive their lanes well enough to the point where Warwick can just come in, go for extra scraps if needed, or help out any lane that's losing, which will probably be the mid lane with Annie and Xerath. More like on Curse's side, we do see Graves, Braum, very good early, but Keelan is going to be very far back because of her long range, so she's going to be pretty safe, I would say, as well as the Alistair headbutt away knock up as well with his pulverize. It's going to be pretty hard. He does have the sustain with his E, which heals, and once he hits 6, he's going to be pretty tanky. So for each lane for Curse's side, it's more like late game. They're going to wait for the late game to happen, and then that's when they're going to make their pushes, and that's when they're going to start doing stuff. So it's going to be interesting to see if the early lane dominance actually works in favor of Kabam, or if the later game scaling of Curse will pull through.
Alright, so we are actually into the Rift, and you know what? We were too focused on these analysis on whatnot. We haven't really done announcements for these teams, so why don't I do blue side and you can do red side. So on the side of Kabam, in the top lane, it's going to be Galador on Renekton. In the jungle, it's going to be Bantrick on Warwick. Then, in the mid lane, it's going to be Boater on Annie. And then in the bottom lane, it's going to be made up of Kells and Ironweaver on Caitlyn and Alistar.
Okay. My client's not loading, it just froze. So I'm going to actually ask you to do that, and then I'll go more into it.
No problem, no problem. Then on the side of Curse in the top lane is going to be Curse Hubert on Jax. Then in the jungle, Gald's Revolver on Jarvan. In the mid lane, Angry Honey Badger on Xerath. And then making up the bottom lane is going to be Kassadin and Curse Lina playing Graves and Braum. And you know what? This Kabam team, they're being really aggressive right now. They are deep into Curse's jungle. There's not a lot of wards on the side of Curse's red side, and they actually just went through the entire jungle. They went through that top side tri-bush, looped all the way around into the wall in front of Red Bush, looped all the way around there, and made their way out without being spotted by anyone. But it seems as though Curse has a pretty similar idea right now, and they're counter-jungling. They're taking Kabam's red buff, and when Warwick does manage to make his way over there, he's going to be met with a pretty nasty surprise. He could get 3-buffed if they don't catch it out early enough.
Yeah, and you know, this is a new strat that teams have been doing. They feel more comfortable in the jungle, and they find now that, hey, if we take the enemy buff, it still works out the same time how it used to in the old jungle. It'll still slow them down, especially with a Warwick where he has to hit 6 until he ganks and he becomes at least relevant with his jungle item. It will slow down his process pretty quickly, I would say.
Yeah, and Warwick, I think he knows that it happened. He's headed over to Curse's red buff at the moment. Jarvan's still working up on that blue buff. He just finished it, but Warwick should be able to take that red buff, and no 3-buff for the Curse team in this game.
Very interesting. Maybe did they place a ward possibly, and then they were able to sort out where Warwick's going, so they could possibly go for a early kind of invade in the jungle when he least expected it? That's probably what they tried to do.
I think it was really just the ward placement by Alistar. He put it in the tri-bush, and he saw Graves and Braum coming from their own jungle, so they kind of deduced that, hey, Jarvan took our red buff. Warwick, you should probably head over to their red buff and take it so you don't get 3-buffed and you don't fall too far behind.
It was very smart play by them, and they knew exactly what to do in the situation. So well done to them.
So are you finally in the game?
I don't know what's wrong with my League client, so I might actually have to reset my computer. So I will probably be back in about 2 seconds, but I will join you in quite a little bit.
No problem, no problem. So, Renekton right now, he is having a pretty difficult time in that top lane against the Jax. He's actually been forced away. Jarvan didn't exactly get the gank off. He has the teleport though, so he'll be going back, get a couple of items, a little bit stronger, and he should be able to do fairly well in that lane. Jax, on the other hand, he only has the flask, so he's only thinking about sustain right now against that Renekton, and it's doing really well for him. He's finally finished up all of his health pots. He's used all of his flask stacks. When he does end up going back, he should be a little bit stronger in terms of sustain. Renekton, he's only picked up a longsword and 3 health pots and a ward. So he's just looking for lane dominance. Jax doesn't really have the teleport for him. He's actually brought Ignite in that lane. Oh, there's the flash pulverize from Alistar. He was looking for a kill onto Graves, being really aggressive. Unfortunately, it was not. They were not able to lock him up completely, and Graves only got away with a couple of cuts and bruises. And ooh, Jarvan coming in for the gank in that mid lane, gets the knock up. Boater has to flash away from the stun of Xerath, and he's gonna be able to get away. Meanwhile, in that top lane, it looks like Curse Hubert, he has taken a lot of damage. Flash and Ignite being used, with only the flash of Renekton going away. He hasn't actually used teleport, so that's actually a little bit strange. He's falling a little bit behind in terms of CS, but with Jax having gone back, oh, Jarvan again with a gank in that mid lane. There's the Arcano Pulse. That's going to force Annie away from that lane. It's going to give Xerath a little bit of free farm. He should just be able to push it out. He's running a little bit low on mana, so I don't think Boater is going to go away right now. He actually has stun. He actually does have stun ready. Angry Honey Badger on the Xerath. Oh, he's hit. He's gotten a huge mana boost because of his passive. Here comes Fantric with the gank, but Jarvan making his presence known. There's the knockup as well, but ooh, Annie gets the stun on the Jarvan. And both of those, both the junglers and mid laners, they are looking pretty low in terms of health. Boater maybe a little bit too worse for her. Oh! Whoa, Arcano Pulse from Angry Honey Badger took that kill. We didn't exactly get to see that being caught out, but you know, that's probably what that's probably what happened. That was just a case of Boater being a little bit too greedy. Just wanted to farm a little bit longer than he should have. He should have gone back a little while ago, and he could have gone back and picked up a Fiendish Codex. He does get that right now, and he has the boots of mobility, or actually those are boots of speed, not boots of mobility. Those are boots of speed, so it's gonna help him quite a bit in terms of just sidestepping any of these Xerath skills. Annie finally making her way back into that mid lane. Looks like Xerath, he has purchased Chalice of Harmony, so he does not want anything to do with the burst that Annie has in her kit. Looks like Jax finally ending up going. He does go back again, and he's finished up a Phage. So he's going to be looking for a Triforce as his first item. Ooh, there it is. Curse Hubert gets the stun onto Galador, but there's not a lot of damage being traded. Looks like Galador looking for Hydra as his first item with the components of a Tiamat. If Curse Hubert gets a little bit ahead in that lane, it could turn out really badly for the Galador and the Renekton. Curse Hubert, the Jax, he only really needs that one kill to just snowball a lead in that lane, and if he gets it, it's going to be looking really bad. He may regret buying a Tiamat as his first item. We'll have to see how it's being played. He is pushing pretty far into red team's lane. If God's Revolver on the Jarvan does end up catching him out with a gank, could turn out pretty badly. Warwick, he is level 6, so they're going to be jumping onto Curse Hubert. There's the stun. Ooh. Channeling the Infinite Duress while the stun was still active. Galador, he's tanking tower. Ignite is on him. He's going to end up falling to Curse Hubert. So is Fantric for a double kill onto Curse Hubert. That was really, really misplayed by the Kabam team. Having the Infinite Duress channeled, even though you knew the Counter Strike was being, like, I guess, spun. I guess that's what he does. He spins his lamp around, or in this case, a hockey stick. He was spinning that hockey stick around. He saw the stun being about to go off, and he still hit that Infinite Duress, so he wasn't able to lock him down for the full amount. And he really did pay for that. He was actually tanking tower for a little bit while he was using his Infinite Duress. That was just a huge misplay by the Kabam team, and Curse Hubert picking up a double kill for himself. It's going to be looking really good for him in that lane. Renekton going back, and he only has a cloth armor to show for it. Jax, on the other hand, he's picked up boots and a Vampiric Scepter, so he's going to be looking pretty strong in that lane. I'm surprised he's actually picked up Vamp Scepter. He has the Phage, but is he trying to go for Blade of the Ruined King? as well as a Triforce at the same time, or is he just picking the Vamp Scepter for a bit of sustain? We'll have to see what he does end up pick. We'll have to see what he does end up picking up as his next item. Is it going to be a Cutlass, or is it going to be something like a Sheen? Meanwhile, in that bottom lane, Kells is doing quite a bit of damage to Curselina, but Catherine, he doesn't even care. Curselina can take all the damage she wants, and Graves is just going to be putting back as much abuse as possible. Unfortunately for him, Iron Weaver does have the Triumphant Roar, and he should be able to just sustain back up in that lane. Ooh, I'll start with the headbutt. Doesn't get the pulverize onto someone. Goes the Glacial Fissure for the knockup, but it's not going to be able to lock down a kill. And you know what, is Triumphant Roar the politically correct name? Like, does Alistar really roar? Oh, I'll get back to that. It looks like Warwick with another gank in that top lane. Curse Hubert does get the counter strike stun and a flash to get away. That was a lot of stuff. Even Fury of the Dominus being popped by the Renekton. He was really looking for that kill. Unfortunately for Curse Hubert, he doesn't really have that flash anymore. He does have the Leaf Strike to. It's kind of a secondary flash, but it can actually be interrupted. So he does have escape mechanisms. So he's not too scared to push out that lane. He is pretty low on health though, but with Galador not having Dominus up, there's not too much kill potential in that lane at the moment. Renekton, after the cloth armor, he's actually upgraded that into a chain vest. Ooh, there goes the headbutt onto Catherine. Exhaust being used as well. They're looking for the kill. Kel's gonna be landed on with the Cataclysm. They're not able to pick up the kill. There goes the Lance. No, there goes the Demacian Standard, dropping it straight onto Catherine. Straight onto Caitlyn's body to pick up that kill. That was a really great gank by the Jarvan. Ooh, I'm not sure what Curse Hubert was thinking right there. He was way too low, and Galador, he's gonna take advantage of that and pick up a kill. I'm not too sure what just happened with Curse Hubert. I don't know if he thought that he had that kill. Again, stay about 500 health Renekton when you're like about only 100. I don't think that's too possible. He does end. He goes back after dying, and he's gonna finish Bilgewater Cutlass. So I think he's just gonna stick with that Phage, just get a little bit of extra move speed onto attacks. It'll help with sticking on to the Renekton. So we'll have the extra move speed on every attack from the Phage, and it'll also have the slow from the Bilgewater Cutlass. He'll just it's just a sticking mechanism. Ooh, okay, so Fantrick gonna be taking Scuttle Crab. Just gonna give a little bit of total vision, 35 gold. You know, who can give up that amount? Catherine and Kales in that bottom lane. After the he actually only has an assist to show for that gank. Ooh, Angry Honey Badger. Tabor's just being summoned straight on top of him. Does get stunned up, and Boder picking up a kill in that mid lane. Well, not really mid lane. That was kind of that was side of the mid lane. There's the Infinite Duress in the top lane. Curse Hubert is actually going to fall this time. He doesn't really have the flash, and Infinite Duress did enough damage to secure the kill. Pushing a little bit too far, and without any wards, that's a really dangerous situation to be in. I was talking before the mid lane death and that top lane death. I was talking a little bit about the Caitlyn and the Graves. Jarvan just being caught out by the Warwick. They do go back. Caitlyn has a BF sword and a pickaxe, so for the Infinity Edge, you know, standard stuff. And Graves with a BF sword and a Vamp Scepter, so I actually think he might be going for a Blade of the Ruined King, and that's going to help a lot in terms of dueling potential. Right now, Jarvan is making his way to that bottom side, but there is a pink ward in that lane. There goes the Pulverize by Alistar. Knock up from the Glacial Fissure. Pulverize to get a double knock up. Ooh, ace in the hole. Is it going to be channeled? No, it's not going to be channeled. He has it up, but I don't think he wanted to, I don't think he wanted to go for it right there. Looks like Xerath has shown himself in that bottom lane. Meanwhile, Curse, Hubert, and Galador are dueling around. There's the flash from Galador. He's trying to get away. Curse, Hubert, does he have Leaf Strike up? It's up finally. He's going to jump in. Curse, Hubert, though, he's tanking Tower, and Galador, because of the extra health from Dominus, he was able to survive that tower dive. A little bit too greedy from Curse Hubert. He got him out of the lane. He could have just pushed it out. But the roam from Xerath and the gank from Jarvan, it did not really bring anything up for Kabers. For Kabers. No, it didn't really bring up any advantage for Curse. So they're just going to be back off right there. Xerath back in that mid lane. He's actually being out-farmed by the Annie. Annie has 130. Xerath with the 100. In that top lane, Renekton out-farming the Jax. He actually should be ahead in that lane. Yeah, got about 400 gold. Then in that bottom lane, Caitlyn is out-farming Graves as well. So this Kabam team just out-farming the Curse team all across the board. The gold lead is not too high. It's only about 1,000 in favor of Kabam, and that's really just probably because of the CS. Ooh, Angry Honey Badger. He does get stunned up by the Annie. He's going to end up falling. While channeling the Arcano Pulse, he does get slowed while doing that, so not too sure. Here comes God's Revolver for that gank onto Galador. Warwick was constantly in that top lane looking for a kill onto the Jax, and now Jarvan showing him a taste of his own medicine. Giving him a taste of his own medicine, getting a kill on to the Renekton. Unfortunately for him now, by showing himself in that top lane, this is going to allow the Kabam team to take the first dragon of the game. At around 17 minutes, he's looking really good. Welcome back, Alex. I have my thing on Do Not Disturb, so I did not hear your call.
Oh, it is no problem. I actually was having huge problems with client, but now I'm in, and I'm seeing that it's pretty equal overall. 1 tower to 1 tower, 5 kills to 5 kills, and if I'm not mistaken, I do not see a... Oh, I see 1 dragon buff taken actually by Kabam.
Yeah, it's really because God Revolver showed himself in that top lane to try and pick up a kill onto Renekton. They did end up picking it. Ooh, Boater, he's going to get stunned up, but there's the Tibbers for the double stun. Ooh, ow, Jax finally falling. It's actually going to be going over to the Annie. Vantrick, he's looking for a kill. He doesn't have infinite duress, but here comes Galador from the sidelines. Doesn't end up getting the stun. So God's Revolver and Angry Honey Badger, they're going to be able to get away. Arcano Pulse just being channeled to try and clear out that wave. That tower is going to end up falling. God's Revolver, he needs to be careful. He's going to get stunned up by the Renekton. The stun from Angry Honey Badger is being used as well. An ace in the hole, tanked up by your friendly neighborhood Honey Badger.
Yeah, and again, it's just the power of Annie. We see that Annie is able to just follow up with the world.
Oh, there's the flash and pulverize from Ironweaver. He did end up locking down Angry Honey Badger, and Annie is going to be picking up another kill for herself. She's 4-1-0 with a DFG. She is a huge force to be reckoned with. Vantrick being a little bit too over-aggressive. He does take 1 tower shot too many, and he does get stunned up by Curse Hubert. He does end up falling along with Curse Hubert. A kill onto Curse Hubert, and a kill on to Galador.
Yeah, and again, just the power of the team comp. We saw that, like I said, the late scaling over the engage. We saw the engage happen when they were around 6, a little higher, obviously, and we saw the burst, the damage that they could do. But once that's gone, they can't do anything from this side of Curse. Curse can just come onto them and just destroy them.
It's looking really good for the Kabam team right now. They have the dragon. They have another tower. So the tower is going to be 4 for 3. All the outer towers have fallen on both teams, and the mid lane inner tower has fallen for Curse. This is going to give a lot of jungle pressure for Kabam if they want to take it. There's not a lot of wards being bought by the Curse team, and I gotta say, they really need to just get the sweepers as soon as possible. Braum, Curse Lena, she has a sight stone, so there's no reason to have the warding trinket still.
Yeah, and to talk about it more, the way that we should see it is
Oh,
basically
Catherine, get infinite duress by the Warwick. Unfortunately, God's Revolver, I don't know what just happened right there. He tried to help his AD carry after being caught out, but he ended up dying as well because of it. That's 2 more kills towards Kabam.
And if Kabam keeps this up, Kabam's just gonna be able to just forget about the out scaling towards the later game. They're gonna go past that, and they're gonna end it before Curse is able to scale into that late game monster with that Jax, with that Zerath, even with Braum being so tanky he can endure so much. It's not gonna happen.
Again, Angry Honey Badger getting caught out again. He's going to end up falling. He's 1-4-0 right now. He really needs to watch his step. Kel's going to be actually picking up that kill, and they take another tower. 5 for 3 right now. Jackson and Braum are in that top lane to try and push it out, but Renekton should be able to defend it against that onslaught. Here comes the rest of Curse team to try and defend that inhibitor tower in that bottom lane, but I don't think it's going to happen. It's going to end up falling. Kabam, there's 4 members right there. Are they going to end up backing out? Boater has he doesn't have summon Tibbers right now, but he does have a stun lined up. If he can catch hold of one of them, that could turn into another kill. There goes Jarvan with the knockup. Boater still not using any abilities for the stun. He's looking for it
Oh
on
my.
Catherine, but he's still holding on onto it. He does it. He finally ends up using it when Tibbers is spawned. Galador has exhaust onto him, and oh, that's going to be a 1-for-1 right now. Jungle for jungle. Here comes right of the Arcane Curse Hubert from behind to pick up a kill onto Annie. He's going to be able to take that. Caitlyn taking the inhibitor. Curse Hubert being really aggressive. He's looking for a kill onto Iron Weaver, but that's a 3-for-1. That's a 3v1 right now. Braum and Xerath are making their way towards her team, but Curse Hubert, he needs to be careful. He's going to be kited by the Caitlyn. Counter-Strike is going to save him a little bit of health because of the dodge, but I think this Kabam team, after getting an inhibitor, they're going to be able to get away. They lost 2 members for 1, but they got 2 towers and an inhibitor for it.
I would say that's pretty worth, and that's because of the power of Caitlyn. Yes, we see that there's not a lot of siege potential, but with Caitlyn there and the heavy engage and zone potential from Renekton, Warwick, Alistair, and Annie is just huge. If they try to touch Caitlyn, if they try to touch anybody on the side of Kabam, Kabam has the engage right in their hands, and look what they got from it. They're able to just pressure, or they're able to kind of scare them into not engaging, and then it wasn't even Curse that engaged. It was Curse that engaged on J4, but they waited so long to engage. They waited till the inhibitor tower was gone, and then the inhibitor was gone, and there was nothing to help them with the defense. So, well played by Kabam, knowing the strength of their comp, just putting the pressure on to Curse, and Curse is going to have to go with a curse or die moment right now.
Yeah.
They're going to have to
Oh,
find
there
out
comes
what
the
they can do.
fight. Looks like Annie picking up a kill onto Xerath. Ace of the hole was not able to lock down that kill. Kells, he did get knocked up by God's Revolver, but the focus went onto Boater. He wanted to kill onto Annie, and Kells, he was just left alone, smacking him across from the Cataclysm wall, and he ended up falling because of it. Right now, Kells is so powerful. 4-1-3, he has an Infinity Edge and a Phantom Dancer, and being left untouched in these fights is not helping them. Kabam, they have double of Curse's kills right now. They're nearing the 10,000 goals mark at 24 minutes in the game. This mid-inhibitor tower is going to end up falling. Super minions are knocking onto the Nexus tower's doors. It's going to be taken so low right now with the mid inhibitor down as well. It's not looking good for this Curse team.
Curse again. They waited too long to kind of get that thing, or possibly even get wards, get something to help them out with kind of seeing where they are. Even their positioning was a little flawed, and again, it's just kaboom, no mercy. They keep going and going and going. They're not letting the mistakes Curse is making. They're not letting go by. They're just punishing them every single time they have made a mistake, and Kaboom is just doing it again flawlessly. We see from the first inhib they took, the second inhib they took, and possibly they're probably going to go for a Dragon and Baron soon, just so they can end the game in their favor.
It's looking towards that scenario. Annie is making her way towards that Baron pit. She does have that pink ward that was actually pre-placed by, I believe it was Annie that had that pink ward down. Let's actually check who that was. It actually, yep, that was Annie's pink ward. So they're killing out any vision near that Baron pit, taking away Scuttlecraft. That's going to give them a move speed escape. And they're starting up on it. This Curse team, they're none the wiser.
Again, and that's because of the map or not really the map awareness, but the map presence with their wards. They have none. There is no wards on the map, so it's gonna be a free Baron pretty much for Kabam.
Kel's using that ace on the hole. He's gonna take Herbert pretty low. He's not gonna even try to steal it. God's Revolver was in no position to even try and attempt to steal, and Curse Hubert, you just saw that he got taken down so quickly by Kells. He just can't survive in these team fights. I don't think going for the Triforce and Blade of the Ruined King was a great builds path, because you could just see Andy so dominant right now. Caitlyn so dominant right now. He needs a little bit of tankiness if he wants to survive in these team fights. His team can't get and actually engage on. Even when God's Revolver gets a knockup on Caitlyn, you could see in every single team fight that came through, he just doesn't focus down Kells and stop him from dealing so much damage. There it is. Hubert being caught out by the Infinite Duress of Warwick. That's another kill going over to Kabam. They're making their way towards that top inhibitor tower. It looks as though they want to go for a clean sweep, taking out bottom inhibitor, middle inhibitor. Now they're looking towards the top inhibitor. The tower's going to go down. The inhibitor should be falling second.
And it'll be an easy kind of pickup for them. Again, they got that pick like you said, and there's no armor on this side of Curse. Curse can't contest that because Caitlyn will just be firing from the back line, and she's going to be able to just hurt over time, and not even over time. She's going to be able to hurt a lot in the 2 seconds.
Well, here comes the fight. Glacial Fissure being used by Braum. There goes the counter-strike. He's looking for something. He does end up getting the sun onto work. Boater, he's going to end up falling to the Jarvan. Meanwhile, God's Revolver, he has been flashing away to try and escape. Caitlyn using the ace in the hole to get that kill. And it looks as though this Kabam team, it's going to be looking pretty good for them. Banned up super minions are just going to be so tanky. They can't deal with it. The Nexus Tower is going to fall. The first and second one. Angry Honey Badger, he has to watch as his base goes to shambles. And the game is going to go over to Kabam at 27 minutes.
I don't know how dominating a performance it has been throughout this preseason, but I would say this is pretty dominant kind of performance by Kabam. Kabam showing why they should be feared, why there is no reason for them not to get feared. They took down Curse in a matter of 27 seconds. Complete control of the map, complete control of their lanes. They didn't worry about, remember, they had a Warwick. Yes, they picked very aggressive and kind of easier lanes with Renekton and Caitlyn being in there. But Annie was there. She could have got poked out pretty easily by Azura. And on top of that, we did also see that they didn't even need the help from the Warwick. Yeah, it ended up working very well into their team comp, but they survived lanes by themselves practically. Warwick didn't really even need to be there, and Curse just needs to work on just putting more pressure with that J4 maybe. Even possibly the map control, no wards around the map, as well as their positioning. We saw that Curse got picked out every single time, and every single time again, Curse made any mistakes, Kabam was there just to capitalize on it.
And you know what? Kabam, their record as of right now is 1-1. So that means they actually lost to someone last week. And I gotta say, if this Kabam team lost to someone, I gotta say, how good is the team that they lost to?
I don't know, man.
It's scary.
It is scary, and we have to remember that it could have just been bad performance by Curse. It could have just been that Kabam was underperforming the time that they were doing that. Maybe Kabam is weaker than that other team. You never know until you actually see each team individually. And again, it's very great performance by them, but who knows? Maybe the next game they'll play against Curse and they'll lose because Curse improved so much. You never know. It also depends on how things work if they're in a bad mood. You know, a lot of things affect kind of playing in a ranked 5 that people don't know, and you know, things could have not just gone in Chris's favor this day.
All right. Yeah. So that is actually going to be the end of the first. That's actually going to be the end of the uh, match, I guess. I will be back for another 2 games later on the rest of the day. My name was Desifresh, and I was joined by Sword of Lightning. Well,
What's up,
for
guys?
for a small amount of time.
For a small amount, tiny amount there. There was a bit of a bug for my spectator client. I promise I'll get that fixed for next time, guys.
All right. So that'll be all. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Please like, subscribe, and follow me on Twitter, YouTube, and all that good stuff. And you know what? Do the same for Sword of Lightning as well. Is that his Twitter is actually at sim_sword.
Sword.
There we go. I will actually.
Perfect.
I'll put it in the comments for you guys. So hope you guys have a great day and see you later.